Buddy, thanks so much for listening to us. If you're listening to us for the first time, please like, subscribe, and share. If it's on the computer, on a podcasting site, YouTube, Rumble, any one of those sites, we greatly appreciate it. If you're listening to us on the radio, we thank you so much. Please tell your friends, your family members to definitely listen into the program. We have Michele Blood. She's got a really amazing story to tell. If you want to find out more about Michele, go to micheleblood.com. And she also has another website, and we'll talk about that too. It's magnet2success.com. Michele, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here and speak with us today.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it, Rob. Yeah, fantastic.
All right. So, can you tell the listeners a little bit about you before we get really deep into this conversation?
Yeah, well, what I do, I live in America now, but I'm Aussie, Australian, up and over or down under, whichever one you want to look at. And I was a professional singer in Australia on TV since I was a little kid, and then I had my rock bands and end up having a very successful rock band and did videos and music records and all that sort of stuff. CDs, whatever you want to call them these days. And kids are probably going, CDs, what's that? And my life absolutely changed and after a near fatal car accident. So the worst thing that could ever happen to someone ended up being the best thing. And now I travel the world working with, well, the great Bob Proctor, who just recently left the body. I worked with him for years and we created many products together. Worked all over the world with Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, many, many other people. And then eventually found my true path and what I was meant to be doing on this planet, which is bringing the awareness of enlightenment through meditation and through having mystical success.
Can you talk about your love and when you discovered your love for music and the performing started?
I was singing, apparently, since the age of 2. And Mum said any song on the radio, I would just be able to repeat it. I would remember the lyrics and sing it.
Right.
And so when I went to school, Catholic school, the nuns, the Josies, they were so beautiful and they loved having their school estedvits. And I would win for them for the school, singing as a little girl. And then I ended up writing a letter into a local TV station in Canberra, ACT Australia, without my mum knowing. I actually wrote the letter myself to ask if I could audition to be on their kids show. Because no one in my family knew that I could even sing, really. They knew I did the estedvits, but they didn't know that that was just the thing I was going to do for the rest of my life. Anyway, so I ended up on TV. I got the audition and it just went from there.
I want to talk about that time when you were performing and traveling all over Australia, all over the world. How was that? Did it take a toll on you? Is that how you got into meditation and mindfulness in general?
No, it was the car accident that
Right.
shifted my whole trajectory. But no, I loved what I did. Very, very hard work. I went through so many different bands trying to get the right people that were the best. I'd headhunt other bands and get them for my band. And then we did touring for years as a cover band to, you make your money. And then we started writing songs, writing a lot of our own music. And then we would have to go to all the records companies to try to get a record deal. I went as really hard to get in to see a record executive or get them to come to your gig. It's nearly impossible in Australia. There's so many, back then there were so many bands and huge big venues all over the place. Like Michael Hutchins, he said, this is the hardest place to gig in the world. And I said, You're not kidding. And so that's why there's not many female Australian singers that do the whole touring, because it's so tough in Australia. The audiences are tough. But anyway, I went into Time Warner and I went in as a singing telegram to see the head of A&R. So I worked it out with his secretary, assistant, whatever you call them these days, that I was this singing telegram and that his family had sent me. And she said, Is it for his birthday? What is it? And I said, I can't tell you that. It's a complete surprise. So I I used to be able to tap dance when I was a kid. So I came in tap dancing and had a big ghetto blaster. And then I said, no, the real reason I'm here is so that you can listen to my band. And I put on the tape, had it blasting out. And I said, we are fantastic. You've got to sign us.
That's really incredible and unique. And you have to do that in show business and be
Oh,
unique
yeah.
and be on your toes and be real quick on your feet, because if you don't, if you meet that one person that may be able, and also you don't even know who you're going to meet. You could see somebody in the airport, somebody walking down the street, and they might hear you, listen to you, and you never know who they are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I gave David Bowie my cassette once. I
Wow.
managed to, all these different people. But the thing is, in Australia, the reason it's so tough to get a record deal is because that you have to prove that you've already got a big live audience that come and see you. So you have to have been gigging for years to get a live audience in excess, you name it. Everybody had a big audience. We had between 4,000 and 6,000 people, depending on how big the gig was, by the time we finally got a record deal. It's not like, so you're very, very experienced. I managed the band, wrote the songs with the band, did all the work in the background, worked out all the budget to be able to get all the equipment. I mean, it's really, really tough. There was no such thing back then as send in a demo and you don't have an audience. You wouldn't get signed. No. In New York or anywhere else, yeah, you could still get signed, even if you've got no experience live. But in Australia, no.
Can you talk about the difference between music when you were performing back in the day compared to now? Because, I hear all these girls and guys that are pop singers, rap singers, and it's totally a joke now. They just use auto-tune. There's not a lot of singers. We could say Adele, maybe a few other ones that use their own voice without all the audio and all the cuts and stuff. But how has music changed from when you really started out performing until now, where it's mostly auto-tune and they kind of just mix everything around to make your voice sound really good and totally different than what it really sounds?
Yeah, it's interesting because when we did we'd call them a 12-inch mix. We would have to, the engineer would have to cut tape and tape it together. There wasn't anything as auto-tune or anything like that. If you were out of tune, you just had to sing it again and again and again until you got it right. But I'd been singing live since I was a kid, so I have a very good ear and I can hear if anything's out of tune immediately, whether it's the band singing or whatever else. But these days, what I find the most interesting, music's always going to shift, but these days it seems like they all sound similar, like they don't pronounce the lyrics. It's all their mouth is almost shut, like they're English royalty or something when they're singing. And so I find it hard to understand what they're singing. Adele is the real McCoy. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few other people that I love that come from, even Amy Winehouse, sad about her dying with all the drugs, but she was a fair income blues singer. She was amazing. And Adele, those two in this era. And of course, it's like I'm more rock and roll than pop. I love Kylie Minogue, and she couldn't really sing that well when she first started. Now she can. She can sing really well live. She's been doing it for a long, long time. So I appreciate people that are full-on entertainers and they know what to do. But it's the fun of being a musician is writing the music, is performing your own music, is, being able to get a huge crowd of people to really be up-vibed and have a good time. It's up to us to be able to do that no matter who they are. And so I just think it's very different. I think it's a shame that they don't have to do it the hard way, because the hard way makes you a true artist.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about the fatal car accident that changed your life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The story is so unique because you would think this is, I just got a new record deal and we just finished a new video. And at this stage, we were touring the country with people like, when they came to visit to tour themselves, the Pretenders. So I met so many great people on the road, and So many other bands, I can't even tell you. But so our life was amazing, and we were just about to go over to Europe, and all of these things were happening. And I was in the truck with all the equipment after a 12-hour drive to get to the next gig, and the truck driver fell asleep at the wheel. And as the passenger, he went into a telephone pole. As the passenger, all the musical equipment went into me. And so I was in the hospital for months and months and months, like touch and go for so long, many long operations, many broken bones, and won't go into it. I don't want anyone to lose their breakfast, lunch, or dinner, depending on what time you're listening to this. But anyway, what happened to me was people were giving me things to bring me up because I was very depressed. I was in absolute agony physically. Unbelievable. I had to be in traction for 3 weeks before the next operation. Those sort of things are just, you can't imagine the pain. But then the depression of thinking, if I do survive, I'm being told I won't walk again properly. How am I going to do all my antics on stage and jump up on top of speakers and do cartwheels and and all that sort of stuff? So they were giving me things to bring me positivity, which I'd never needed, Rob, because I was always a very positive, very self-disciplined person, doing all the things you do as a female rock singer. You really have to look after your voice, and it's none of the drugs and drinking and all the things that they say you do, because if you did that, you'd blow out every voice and every gig. So we were a very disciplined band. But anyway, this is weird. Okay, someone put on Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the audio version of the book, that is all about successful male entrepreneurs in the 1920s in America. What had that to do with a female rock singer in Australia and her healing? What had that to do with it? Well, none of the book really, except one chapter where Napoleon Hill had a little baby boy born with no hearing, absolutely no hearing. And he used to go into his little boy's room every night and he would say, "You are perfect. You hear perfectly. You have a great life. You're positive." Just affirmation after affirmation, which he called auto-suggestion. I'd never heard of that before, ever. So I said, something within me just clicked, Rob. And I just said, I know that this will work for me. If it worked to heal a little boy and he can hear, you end up going to a normal hearing school, well, it'll work for me. I've just got to put that positive thought into my mind. So I did make an affirmation. I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. I said it over and over again, but it didn't work because what happens is the doubting mind throws it away. It says, this is why affirmations, a lot of people give it up before it even works. But then the miracle happened, the epiphany. As a singer-songwriter, you cannot get a song out of your head. You can't get a jingle out of your head. So I thought I'll make an affirmation little jingle song for myself. Because what happens is the affirmations, the lyrics go in the left side of the brain, the music and the melody into the right side of the brain, and it goes straight into your subconscious mind. It's now medical studies have been done in Johns Hopkins, so many wonderful studies, and it proves, I was the first one to ever do it, that it goes 300 times faster straight into your subconscious mind, which of course is why little kids remember their ABCs, because they're taught how to do it by singing it. So I just started singing onto a tape over and over again. I am healed, I know I am. I love myself, I am my friend. Over and over and over. Listened to it for months. End up with miraculous healing. And of course, because of the amazing doctors. But the way I was healed, they just said, that's crazy. So journalists found out about me doing these affirmation songs. Then promoters started finding out about it. They started wanting me to go and sing on stage at these big seminar events with these people I'd never heard of. Mm-hmm. And by this stage, I was recording a lot of different affirmation songs. I got my band to go into the studio and do them professionally, not to sell, never my intention, just for us, for our consciousness, to have more success and more happiness. So that's how it all started.
Can you talk about what success means to you and how do we achieve it if we are struggling?
Well, I haven't been successful my entire life, that's for sure. Struggled for years with the singing career. I
Right,
mean,
true.
I remember Michael Hutchins, I'm name dropping, but I knew him. We were all in Melbourne doing a gig, and my road crew told me when we got back to the hotel that Michael borrowed money from them for a burger because they don't even have, our road crew always had more money than we did because we'd pay everything out first. But the thing is, to me, success is I like Earl Nightingale's description. It's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And an ideal is, I don't know if it was Earl Nightingale actually, and an ideal is an idea that you have fallen in love with. So then the journey, it sounds so corny, but it's true. It's the journey. It's like, okay, when we started having success and getting to gig with these other bands, you could think of yourself as like that successful, but no, we always had something new. There's always a new goal, a new intention, a new song to write.
Right.
Get yourself fit and healthy. There's so many things, always having something that is propelling you forward, always having something that is being of service to others, propelling you forward so that you feel better about yourself, because you can never just be stagnant. And as far as the world is concerned, what I've been doing is doing these visualizations. This is to rise above all of the crap going on. I see the world filled with this beautiful purple light, indigo, vibrating light, because the light does vibrate. This has been proven. But I visualize it all around the world, and it's a magnet. And it is magnetizing up into it all of the negativity, all of the fear, and dissolving it. Because everything that's happening it's just too surreal. And it's like, so I'm in Alma, the hugging saint. She's doing that now too. She's visualizing, she's getting all her students also to visualize little crystals of white crystals that are coming down onto the planet and dissolving all those lines of attention, all those rabbit holes, and clearing the earth up, and then seeing all this beautiful light coming out of the earth. And I'm going to do like which is what I do very often, like a cartoon thing. I do these images, these videos, so people can have these images of what really is going on, that it is going to bring them up higher than even anything else you can do, because you're looking at the big picture. This too shall pass, because it will.
Everybody that's listening, definitely go to magnettosuccess.com. So much there. Michele does have a giveaway that she can speak about in a minute, but I just want to ask her this question. If people go to that website, magnettosuccess.com, what do you hope that the listeners to this podcast get out of that site or look for in general?
Well, I think if you just go through the different categories, and I do have a lot of free products on there too. I would just go through the different categories. But one of the things that I think, because there's a lot of products there on different things, if you can just see what you feel you're connected to. I mean, I think if you can go through the visualizations, we've got some little visualizations that are free. Some are just $5 each. And one of the things you can do is click where it says videos and watch. I've got hundreds and hundreds of free videos on so many different topics that you may need assistance with right now. It might be about karma. It might be about business success. It might be about how to make more money. It might be about how to be an entrepreneur, how to treat your business like a successful rock band, making sure everything's in tune. I mean, I've got many different topics, because I believe that spirituality covers everything there is, because everything is spirit. So there's a lot of different topics, and I love to see people succeed. How to write a book in 3 to 30 days, even if you can't type. I mean, everything that I've taught myself, I end up teaching other people because it's fun.
Right. No, it is. It's a good site, and there's so much on there that even we didn't even speak about throughout this interview. So definitely take a deep dive when you have a good amount of time and dive into magnettosuccess.com. As we go toward the end of the interview, again, Michele Blood here on Fire Breathing Rob. What do you hope people learn from this interview?
I want them to learn that no matter who you are or what your circumstances are, you have a power within you, a spirit within you. When you don't know how to do it, it knows how to do it. You are immortal consciousness. Everything is possible for you. But you have to also realize you can't just sit in a cave and go, oh, you also have to take action. Every day, just do a little bit more. Little things around your home that will change your consciousness. Making sure you make your bed every day, that everything is clean. You don't leave dishes in the sink. Because when people feel a bit down, they don't feel like cleaning. And that's the worst thing you can do, because what you look at affects how you feel. So when everything is in order, you feel better. Throw away old things that you're never going to wear again. Put your closet right. I mean, even if you want to color code stuff, it's for consciousness. It makes you feel happy.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And the last question as we end this interview, I did talk about where people can find more about you. Again, micheleblood.com, magnettosuccess.com. Is there anywhere else on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, where people can find more about you, Michele?
Yeah, we've got a YouTube station, youtube.com/Michele Blood, which is 1L, MICHELEBLOOD. So that's youtube.com/Michele Blood. And there's lots of, obviously all free videos. I just did one recently with Jack Canfield, which I think is very entertaining. He's a really nice bloke. Known him for many, many years. And with, all the different podcasts that I've done as well. There's so many different ones. This is one of my favorites, and I'm not just saying that because I love the accent.
Thank you. And I know you said about the free offer before we end the podcast. Can you just talk about that?
Well, it's mydivinesuccess.com/conversations with Rob. And it's not actually free, but it's $300 worth of products and events for $10.
Wow, that's a pretty big discount.
Yeah.
It's about as free as you're going to get for that
you'll
amount
get
of
so
money.
many of my favorite best-selling products there, and with Bob Proctor as well, the late great who just recently left the body. I love you, Bob. Yeah, for just $10. And the thing is, Rob, if somebody sincerely can't even pay the $10, you go to our website, Michele Blood, MICHELEBLOOD, email us and say, look, I would love that $300 worth. I don't even have the $10. We will just send it to you for free.
Wow.
Because I want you to be able to experience it and get yourself lifted up to a higher vibration. Because even if you just go up a little bit, it'll change the trajectory of where you're heading.
Well, we need people to check this out because, again, and not to reiterate the same thing over and over again, there are a lot of people struggling in this country and all over the world. I know we do have a few people that listen from different parts of the world because I've checked it in the analytics. So wherever you are, US, Canada, UK, wherever it may be, Australia, wherever it may be. We actually have had a couple of people from India too, which was, I don't know how they found out about this, but God bless them. But we appreciate wherever you're listening, and definitely check out Michele. We'd love to have you on again, Michele. There's so much we didn't dive into that we could dive into. And I think you're an asset to the listeners. And I hope they go to micheleblood.com. Again, magnettosuccess.com. Michele Blood, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thanks,
Let's
Rob.
definitely do this again, please.
I'd love to.